What is going on, Coach? Thomas here from MyCoach Ai. And in this video today, I want to show you the best and really our recommended workflow for reviewing client nutrition, particularly the individual foods that they ate directly within the MyCoach Ai system, because we have some very convenient workflows, some very solid features around that. And of course, that is all based in the fact that inside of MyCoach Ai, you can actually fully house and manage your nutrition for clients. So as opposed to a lot of other coaching apps where you may connect to something like MyFitnessPal and then need to check in an individual resource or whatever other solutions are out there, it is different than actually housing it inside of the platform. Because what that will do for you is not only allowing it to keep everything in-house for clients, of course, but also for you as a coach to be able to leverage all of that information and the data that gets hosted directly on the platform and have super solid workflows directly in here to review client nutrition. Okay, so let's dive into that right away. Now, this video is strictly going to be on the workflows of reviewing it. There is a lot more to nutrition if you want to find out more about the meal plan functionality, the macro tracking functionality, whatever it may be, because the capacities are very broad inside of MyCoach Ai. We, of course, have other videos and resources to check that out. But for now, let's go into reviewing nutrition. So that, of course, happens on an individual client level. So I'm going to go over an example with one specific client, Christian here. And the first thing that we're going to do is visit his schedule. So I'm just going to click on his profile and then hit the schedule from one of these options, and we directly get to his schedule. The reason I go here first is because the first thing I want to show you is reviewing individual nutrition days for clients. That's the main topic here. How do we review exactly what a client ate, what their macro totals are, if they should be shifting things around? And the answer we find right here on the schedule. And you already see some hints of it because as we go through the schedule, what you can always see is any macros that are assigned to that client for a particular day. That's what you're seeing right here. And if there has if there's actually been food and macros tracked, it will show up under that. So that is what we are seeing right here. This is today. So we're looking at the most recent day and we can see the macros that were assigned. And then below that, the macros that were actually tracked. You can see this for future days. So nutrition days coming up, of course, past days as well, if stuff was tracked there. And the best way to, of course, review that if it was actually tracked is by comparing that there is two sets of macros, the assigned ones and then the tracked ones. But really the magic happens once we click into this. And this is why I came here to the schedule to show you, because if you have a day like this, where macros have been assigned and macros have clearly been tracked, we can get a lot more info by just clicking into it. If I click on these macros, if I click on these macros here on the client profile, what I get is a complete macro breakdown and food breakdown for this client. So below foods have been checked off by Christian, the amounts are rounded to the nearest whole number, right? So that is the overview that we find down here. This is a very convenient overview, and this is really your main tool to analyze nutrition day by day for any client inside of MyCoach Ai. This is a full list, all of the foods that this client checked off, with the calories, carbs, fats, and proteins, of course, labeled per individual food, or you can select individual foods and see the macros for those. And this is going to give you a beautiful overview, including the totals for the day that you can use to give your clients some feedback, see what they're actually eating from a practical level, and not just what the macros are, but where do those macros come from, right? And we even go further because take a look at this. If I scroll all the way down, what I get is a drop down that says nutrition totals. And what we're now going to be getting into is micronutrients, right? So really important to remember, in the MyCoach Ai system, our food database, for the most part, absolutely contains micronutrient value. So if you need to keep track of how much fiber or vitamins or minerals your client is actually consuming, you are able to do that inside of MyCoach Ai. So what you do is you scroll down on the food overview and hit nutrition totals. And you can now see the totals for the day for these micronutrients. So you can take a look at the fiber, the vitamins, calcium, sodium, all of these different things. There is even a lot more than this, but of course they only show up if those are actually micronutrients that have been tracked and sufficiently eaten, right, for us to show you. So that is also an awesome overview. If that is something you pay attention to as a coach, that is your way to review them, the nutrition totals under the total macro breakdown. So that's one of the main tools. Really, really awesome one. Complete reference point for everything they ate, what the macros are and where are they coming from, and even the micronutrient totals. Now, to finish off this video, I actually want to quickly go to the metrics section as well, because of course, what we have now covered is how do you review your client's nutrition day by day and the foods they actually eat day by day. But there's another really important way in which we track and keep eyes on nutrition for clients, which is of course kind of their progress over time, right? Are they, increasing their calories or decreasing it? Is it somewhat consistent how much they eat, or, in kind of sporadically? That is something we may want to look into as well. And that's when you go to the metrics section. So as a general rule, try to remember that the schedule is a really great place to check individual things on individual days. A workout that was completed on a certain day, the food totals for a certain day of nutrition, individual moments in time that you check out. The metrics section, of course, collects all of this data, but over time, collected on more like graphs and averages and highest and lowest. And that's why you want to visit this section if you need to see that for nutrition. And the metric is just called nutrition. So you go look that up. This automatically gets tracked and data gets added into once the client actually starts tracking their food or checking off their meal plan. You can view the full history. Of course, it's going to show you a graph. You can select different time periods, averages, highest, lowest for all of these macros. These are very convenient overviews because you can manipulate the graphs. You can see averages, highest, and lowest. And even if we scroll down under here, and this is another fantastic tool, is that we can see the history per individual day too. So this will actually show you, so you can identify certain trends, what was assigned, and then what was tracked per individual day that there was actually nutritional activity. And yes, absolutely, you may have seen the button already, but you have food buttons next to it here that are actually going to show you that same nutrition overview, right? The same one that I showed you on the schedule, you have access to right here as well. So this is really your main center to check out a client's nutrition more globally speaking. If it's just a quick check day by day, the schedule will do just fine because it will show you those same overviews, right? And that is pretty much it. Two very convenient places to check on clients' nutrition: the schedule and food overviews, and the metric section with the nutrition metric. Awesome places, awesome ways to collect data, to review everything that you need to. All of this data is stored for you so you can reference it when you go talk to your clients. And that is pretty much it. Very convenient ways, all made possible because MyCoach AI houses it directly within the system. So hope that was helpful to understand how that works and what the capabilities are. If you want to learn more about MyCoach AI, about how we integrate nutrition, because there's a lot more to it, go check out some other videos on our channel. And also, you can just go to our website, make a quick free trial. Go check it out for yourself. It's pretty fun. So hope to see you on the inside. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.